full race oil option. And the additive package in here is supposed to be extremely high. And they say when you run this stuff versus like a really good synthetic oil, this stuff does what that doesn't do.
I got the whole fleet on XL.
Yeah, I like the XL.
We're getting suited up and booted up. What up, Scott? Welcome. Welcome.
You've got
we are back. Getting my screens all pulled up. Hope I don't end it on everybody. Oh, I didn't do it this time. I didn't do it.
Leave it to Cliff to tell us we're late.
Hello, Cliff.
He keeps doing that. Cliff, cut it out.
I apologize. We get so in depth in the pregame, and we just start rambling, and then we're here. What's up, everybody? It's always everybody's fault. It's all good, all in good fun. Jeffrey, hello. He's waving his hand. Crouster, my man. Yo, what is going on? Find anyone to hook up the DRW lights with A-Rod? Hey, we're doing DRW lights. Everybody's been hitting up Limitless to get that kit, the lights, the connector, the harness, what have you. Welcome, everybody. Zeke!
Did Charleston tell you about that Lightning he drove?
Yeah, I have not driven one yet, nor have I sat in one at all. I haven't really been able to check them out.
So nice, dude. You got to do it when you get a chance.
I hear they're pretty quick. I've only been in the slowest Mach-E. I haven't been in the badass one. So
give you that roller coaster feel when you go to take off and this thing in the front end starts to act like it wants to separate from the frame, and it feels like your guts are like pushing into your spine. It's like, oh, this is nice. And it's like instant, but it rolls into it instant. It doesn't like do it aggressive to where you lose control. It's like, there it is. It's gone. And it's like, what the fuck?
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will definitely have to check that out. Definitely looks like it'd be fun. The first thing I have on my list is Shakaroonies. Crowder came through and he picked up a set of Fox 2.0s.
Nice one.
And they were really nice. We're going to be looking at them here in the comments. He had a 5-hour trip back from the D, and I didn't hear any complaints. And I'm only left to assume that his ride was smooth and comfortable. I did just replace them today. They were leaking, and doing shocks is really not that big a deal. If you guys are stressing out about it, the Fox is right. Nice. I like it. They are not bad whatsoever. And so I made a little video documenting how you guys can do it. You do not need a hoist, hand tools, some spray lube, and I think you guys will be able to definitely knock that out. Fox came with a new upper fastener for the fronts. The rears we reused as fasteners, which were in great shape. So
I like those.
My Fox.
When I saw it, when I was looking at the ones that you put on there, I'm looking at them. I'm like, man, I'm really impressed with the quality of the top of those bushings and where everything comes together. And how they don't have a lot of bulge. They're really strong, and they look like they're like kind of a really robust, but yet soft, not super soft material, like almost like a polyurethane. No, is it polyurethane?
That's what I was just gonna say. Like a really nice stiff polyurethane.
Yeah, they're really nice.
I think comparing those to the stock ones, I think the stock ones were more rubbery. Yep.
That's the first impression I got when I looked at them. I was like, wow, those things look really nice. And then I was looking at the top bushing, and I was like, wow, is that polyurethane? That's nice.
He did say he ordered them from Shock Surplus and was quite surprised that he had them in less than 24 hours the next day. So if anybody's wondering where to get shocks, I have a testimonial right here. Packaging was in good shape. They were the right parts. Didn't run into anything, and they were super fast. So I can't beat that. You know what I mean?
That's saying something these days.
Yeah, that's good. I was, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, I was doing a brake job at work and only got 3 pads in the box.
Ooh.
The hell am I going to do with 3 pads?
A 3/4 brake job.
I'll just use 2 bad pads and put them together, you know, put the outsides, and yeah, we'll be good.
JV weld, yeah.
Hey man, that's for that one caliper where the outside, you know, kind of locks up and it doesn't wear, and the piston's doing all the work from the inside. You only got to do 3, man.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Save money.
FORscan. Let's get that truck FORscan. I don't know if you guys have been following the channel, you know what we're talking about. It is definitely something I think every Super Duty owner should have. I don't care if it's a gas or a diesel. It is something that is very efficient. It's not only for your vehicle, but it's for any Ford vehicle. And it allows us to remote in. We can diag the truck from a great distance, and you know, can get you set up with a lot of important things as far as info. If you have a Power Stroke OCR, Ford Boss and Ford Bearder Tech, we are always turning on in our customer Super Duties OCR Operator Commanded Regen. We have the ability to control regen through the instrument cluster, but the trickery is you have to be hot, you have to be in park, and you have to be at 100%. You can't be at 90, you can't be at 95. You have to be hot, in park, and at 100%. So when you see the instrument cluster pull up 100%, if you do have OCR turned on, away you go. And 25 RPM, you'll be hearing it sing, cleaning out that filter. Definitely a great tool. I don't know how often Ford Boss you use it, but programming, I was actually able to get this. I had a truck that needed 21P19, right? So I hooked up FORscan before I did P2119, or not P2119, 21P19, the RCM reconfiguration. Looked at all of the as-built that was in the RCM, hooked up FDRS, did the 21P19, hooked FORscan back up, and there were 2 characters that changed in the as-built data. So to me, if you knew that code for that particular truck, you could in theory change the information that you needed, and you know, take care of some other programming. It allows you to access a lot of great data, and it's funny how close FORscan is to FDRS when we select our PIDs and put them in to the side little menu and then displays it on the graph. Kind of ironic, but nonetheless, I think it's easy to use. You guys should do it. And if you need to get your truck checked out or FORscanned or want to personalize it more to you, reach out to us on email. We'll get you hooked up. We have a great dongle on Amazon that everybody's been using. It does both the MS and HS CAN, which is really important when you're going between modules and you're flipping switches, and you don't want to be messing with that. It's just set it and forget it. So,
you know, I adjust tire size.
Yes, we can. A lot of guys are running 37s, and we have now got it dialed in. The circumference in millimeters that gives you just the right amount of adjustment but doesn't get out of its zone, which is going to trigger your wrench light and check engine light, because the PCM and trans characterization's out of limits and is not coinciding with each other. So it can be done. It can be done. A-Rod, FORscan for the win. You got me hooked up. FORscan, yeah, baby. Broken camera lens on a 21 F-150. What to do? Broken camera lens. What, front, back?
Did it break on its own, or did you? I mean,
broken from camera on F-150 front. Probably got like a little stone or a rock in it, I would think. Not too bad to replace. Not that hard. I mean, the grill's got to come out, but or at least back far enough to get your paws in there. I do have an interesting one. I have a very good condition truck at work, and it's a 2019. It has 360 camera, and the customer's complaining that all of his cameras are foggy, and the only one that is not is the fifth wheel one. What do all the other cameras have in common? They're all coaxial on the 360 camera. So the center high mounted stop lamp camera is got a 6-pin electrical connector, and all of the other 4, 2 under the mirrors, the front and the rear, both go to the IPMB, which is located right behind the infotainment and screen. If you guys remember the video we did installing the Nav TV, remember that? We took that whole infotainment out, and the IPMB we had to disconnect, and Nav TV pretty much was in line with the IPMB and had to disconnect those coaxials, and that is what allowed us to hit the turn signal, and our right camera turned on, right turn signal, vice versa, and we could control those cameras at any speed. I looked at the cameras on the front, I looked at the cameras on the side, and they are crystal clear. There's no discoloration. The lenses are superb. And I'm kind of thinking that we may have an IPMB. This is the module that's taking all those video feeds and displaying that on our infotainment with whatever button we hit for whatever camera, and displays that. So I think we're going to be talking about that here in another video, because it's important, because I hear a lot of guys talking about the cameras are crappy, and I feel that these ones on the newer trucks are the same cameras. We just have different hardware in the truck, different IPMB, different software, and whatever alien technology they got. That's the only thing that's changed. And I hate to say it, but the cameras, I mean, I still think they're the same cameras, unfortunately. But that's neither here nor there. And so what we're going to have to deal with. Any word on when Limitless is coming out with the 11/16 rear camera harness? I do know that he has found connector A and connector B. We just need to find the time now to secure those two together with wiring and some sort of setup that's going to make it rigid for where it comes out of the tailgate. So just hang tight. I was talking to him about that. I mean, it was at least a few weeks ago. I was like, hey, I actually needed my test harness. And he told me he found the connector. So just hang tight. I will definitely let you guys all know about that soon. Just got a notice from Ford and issued 20 E07. And you guys received this letter? Any of you guys? What's all this about? Is this important? Cody, that's kind of funny, huh?
Yeah, we were just talking about that today.
Kind of funny, huh? 20 E07, eh? Well, for those of you that are here tonight, I guess we can briefly touch on that. But I think a lot of you guys out there, Ford Boss, Ford Bearded Tech, CP, we all bring them in when we're reprogramming these trucks for 20 E07. A lot of guys have been complaining that their truck is messed up. Is this the recall that is messing up these trucks? I haven't heard of this. I don't know what you're talking about. I just did one the other day and the truck wasn't messed up. And I guess what they're talking about is when you guys bring these vehicles in, we have to complete any open recalls. And one of those recalls would be this E program. What does E stand for, Mr. Ford boss? What's that stand for? When we look at a recall, that means what?
Like emissions?
It means emissions. So that means we have to do it.
Means the feds want something changed.
It means we have to keep it squeaky clean, and it has us reprogram the modules. We can't just pick one. It does a coordinated flash. So if we do PCM, it's going to do the gold plug module, a NOx module, the TCM, gold plug control module, whatever. And what guys are noticing afterwards is they will not hit the brake or accelerator, might be sitting on their phone, sitting at their job site, and all of a sudden their engine idle starts to elevate. And what the hell? I'm not hitting the gas. Why is this going up? And they may even see a light amount of smoke come out the tailpipe and start to be alarmed. You know, it didn't do this before. Well, it didn't do it to the extreme, I guess, that you should say you're seeing now. We want to make sure these trucks are hitting their peak emissions and no less and no more. And what that means is bringing that catalyst up to temperature, all those sensors, the EGR, the various engine inputs that have to check in for this apparatus to run correctly, all need to be within a certain range. And if that means we need to get that up higher, faster, and if that means by increasing the RPM, then unfortunately that's what we have to do. So you don't necessarily think that there's something wrong with the truck. I don't want you guys to be alarmed. It's going to be normal operation. And I mean, there's really nothing you're going to be able to do about it unless you hit the brake or gas, and it's going to immediately go back down to its idle RPM. So it's up to you. We are going to do it if the vehicle comes in, but if you request us not to, I mean, if you don't want me to rotate your tires, I'm not going to rotate your tires. If you don't want me to reprogram your truck, then I'm all right, man. I won't reprogram your truck. But it's always good to have the latest stuff out. They do change a lot of stuff, how turbo is going to work, how EGR functions. I'd want the latest software, for my vehicle. So can the 360 overview of the truck color be changed? No. That would be cool. I just talked to a client, actually the gentleman who brought in that Sweet 19 I was working on. He asked, is there any way to change the color of the ambient lighting? And I'm like, yeah, with FORscan, oh, no. But I don't know, have you guys ever heard of anything aftermarket where these guys are adding some outfit to change the color of the ambient lighting in the doors and everything? I haven't heard of that. I haven't heard of it at all. Any news regarding the Ford Pass updates? Nope.
Monitor Oasis.
Hold on, I just seen something about an oil leak up here. My 22 is awaiting A-Rod to fix oil leak at rear of driver's side valve cover gasket. Yeah.
Pressure.
I
said no pressure.
Yeah.
The valve cover gasket or the injector to valve cover O-ring?
No, that's dry as a chicken bone. That's a really interesting. I do not see valve cover gaskets leak. The CCV O-rings are dry. Injector O-rings are dry. And I thoroughly cleaned it off with Brake Clean Mafia and compressed air, and got really down in that seam. I'm laying underneath the truck underneath the prop shaft, looking up at the rear of the driver's side head, and where the valve cover meets the cylinder head, I see that gap. And at the very end corner tip, I can see the metal gasket coming out. So I'm thinking anything running down is going to follow that seam, and it's going to soak into that oxidized aluminum, and it's going to wick. And I see it. So I clean it. I'm like, there is nothing. I mean, nothing. Certified. There ain't nothing up there. I get this brand new sweet ass oil dye we got, and this shit makes the oil leak white. You don't even need glasses. I see
Not
it
green,
leaking
it's
right.
white.
I see it right here. It's awesome. I put about 15 miles on it, but I let it run for about 45 minutes, almost an hour. Came back, and I'm like, no way. This shit's leaking, dude. And I'm like, is it me? Get my screwdriver, and I'm getting right in the crack, right in the middle gasket and the aluminum, and I'm starting to pull oil away. I could see with my yellow glasses and my little UV light, I could see it now. It's on my screwdriver. So I know 100% it's leaking. I 100%. Where is it coming from? I don't know. I see the seam halfway up the back of the head at the valve cover. I see it wicking out. It's either something wrong with the valve cover, like a porosity issue, or there's something wrong with the valve cover gasket. And out of all of my 6-7 existence, I really think the only time I've ever replaced a valve cover gasket is when I'm either rebuilding an engine, or I had to take the valve cover off to get something else.
What about the bottom of the CCV box? Yeah,
Bone dry.
You said the
Bone dry.
O-rings were dry, but what about the bottom of the box itself, or where it's sealed?
Dry as a chicken bone, Clark.
Yeah.
Dry. I don't know. We'll be definitely talking about that. These oil leaks. You'd think it's obvious, right? Oh, I got an oil leak. You got any tips or pointers? Yeah, follow the oil leak, right? Okay, well, I'm following the oil leak, and I mean, shit's fucking hard, man. Pain in the booty. 450 started leaking oil, 400 miles on it. Ain't that a bean?
Careful, Sean. You can't say that in here. This is Ford territory. Sean said Dirty Max is king. Hey, you're behind enemy lines there, buddy. You got to be careful with that.
I mean, if you like emptying out the top drawer of your toolbox to work on it, then yeah, they are.
I mean, he's not wrong. It doesn't leak or anything, but
I don't want to work on a Dirty Max ever again, especially after doing dirty on a new one with that big old catalyst behind the turbo.
yeah, that thing's obnoxious.
Pedal Commander versus Pedal Monster. Let's do it. Pedal Commander, Pedal Monster. Yeah, very good. Very good. Any Banks news, A-Rod? I should say stay tuned, because I'm going to tease you guys. But for our 100,000 sub giveaway, you might want to pay attention. Yes, and the Pedal Monster has reverse safety, indeed. Staying on this side of enemy lines, easiest way to change a motor on an 11 F350 will cab off. But in the event that you do not have the capabilities to do such a task, the thing's gonna have to come right out the front, and you're gonna need some non-play school equipment, because this thing's heavy. Gonna have to take off some things. Yeah, gonna have to take some things off the bottom of the motor, slide it out, but it can happen. It's just, she tight.
Remember that 2x4 scaffolding in your neighborhood?
I was gonna say, just build a little wooden, like plywood gantry.
Here's a good question. Situational Adventure says, did my own oil change and fuel filters on the new to me F350 DRW. So here's a question. With the CCV change, no more changeable filter, what model did it start? Well, 11 through 16 did not have a filter. Then 17, some 18s had the CCV box with the, I don't know, was it 7-8 millis all the way around that had that removable filter. And then, I don't know, halfway through 18, it was just a pass-through box with some baffles, obviously, which changed a little bit configuration into 20. 23, completely different. And we actually have a 22 at work now. That's a brand new stock unit. 22, but it has the 23 CCV. What? Completely. I mean, this is a CCV box on the 11 through 22. This is the CCV box on a 23. Considerable difference, and like, whoa, look at all that room in there. Whatever they did with this one, obviously the engine size and shape didn't really change, and I mean the configuration looks the same as far as the ports and the valve cover, but why couldn't we put that one on the models before? Looks pretty BA. I'd like to find the VIN and either look up in historical vehicle build information or the parts catalog to see what part number that has gone to. It's really funny to see when we get these new trucks and when Ford Boss and us, when we have to go to the parts department and look up all these part numbers, we have a prefix, a base number, and a suffix. And all these part numbers have been changing: 3C, 3Z, 6C, 3Z, 8C, 3Z, LC, 3Z, and all they're denoting, vehicle line, year, and it's I mean, we always deal with Super Duty stuff, so it's just funny to see, all the going through the 60 numbers and head gaskets and all those repairs, and you're on a wholly totally different set of numbers, so it's quite funny.
I'm used to working on the 1F or something F for all the OBS stuff, or 1E or 5E.
I've been this and that. You have to get with Ford Dr. DTS. Yeah, I actually, TM, that's funny you say that. I am I haven't been on there in a while, but I am a registered user on that, and I've reached out to Keith before to either do a collab with him, and he just seemed like he was a busy dude. Never heard back from him or anything. So I'm open to have him on here. I know he's got a lot of good material on there, especially the coffee table books. I know I have had to revisit that site to look at some of the books. So yeah. All right, this is for everybody out there right now. Dallas is asking a really good question. I've been doing all the yapping here and have been lax on the comments. He says, in your opinion, what's your favorite year 6.7? What's your favorite year 6.7? Okay, I got a lot going through my head right now. Okay, I'm going to give you two. I'm going to break it down: steel body and Illuma Duty, because I like my steel bodies, but I love my Illuma Duties. So if you could get any steel body, I'm not even going to fool around with any of them. I'm just going to go right to 2016. If you got a nice, clean 2016, I'd say 50K. I'd be happy at one at 50K, 1,000 miles, not for 50,000. One that's looks good. And if a Luma Duty, okay, a Luma Duty. I like my 20, but the one I have at work right now was built, it's a 2019, and it was built October of 2019. So this is like the last 2019 6-speed trans that you would have been able to get, because the latter part of November is when they started dumping out the new 20s. We got a couple people here in the comments who I know whose vehicle was built in the 19. So maybe 2019. I like my 10-speed. I don't know, man. Kind of hard to tell. Any Illuma Duty. I love Illuma Duties. Definitely. I like the creature features that they add. It was the BCM was the big thing. The BCM is what changed the truck. We had, you could just do a couple things. There's so many damn things in that BCM. Looking through FORscan, that there's in there. I don't think you guys know a lot of all that stuff. So the more stuff you got, the more shit we can change, the funner it is. Rainman says Dirty Max.
Have you heard anything from Anthony?
No. In fact, I have left a message. I tried calling him. Nothing.
I'd like to know what's come of that transmission sound. Has it gotten worse? Is it the same?
Oh, you're talking about him.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about another Anthony. No, I have not talked to him. I haven't heard from him, so I guess he's been rolling on his big boy 22 5s with his pointy lug nuts.
Figure out the vibration in that 7.3.
No, that's what I'm going to be working on tomorrow, man. That's what I'm going to be working on tomorrow.
Does it seem like it's a shutter or vibration?
Okay, so check this out. It is, if I verified it on the road, okay? But between the freeway and, I could get it on the hoist. I ain't going on the road no more. I consecutively get it on the hoist. If I stay at 65, no traction control, got the hoist down on its locks. If I spin that up to 65 miles an hour, now excuse the noise that you're going to hear, but this is what you feel in the seat of your pants. I'm like, gotta be drive shaft. So the first thing I look at is the midship bearing, and I see cracks around the top side of the midship bearing. I'm like, well, there's not supposed to be cracks in there. It's not being isolated away. So, maybe it's like flopping up and down. So I put a midship bearing on it, and I thought it changed it a little. This is before I put it up on the hoist and I was verified on the road. It was still there. So I'm like, well, maybe the drive shaft could be out around. We have a great shop not far away from us that can balance drive shafts. And we sent it out. It comes back with 4 weights on it. I'm like, well, dang, maybe it was out of balance. No shit. Well, this has got to be it. Thing's a 21, got 30,000 on it. It's an ambulance. Put the drive shaft in, same thing. Didn't even change. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you serious? So that's when I put it on the hoist, and I'm laying on. I mean, dude, when you got that shit spinning that fast on the hoist, that shit's scary, man. Yeah. I'm like, I got my arms away, and I'm laying on the creeper, and I'm looking with my head. I don't even want my body near. I see these wheels, like, ooh. I'm looking at the drive shaft. I mean, it's straight up. It looks straight. I don't see no wobbling, no nothing. It's spinning. I noticed as I was lifting the vehicle up, that this whole thing's got all new tires on it. We got 4 different we have 4 of the same tires in the back, real knobby, and we have 2 different sets of tires in the front, which are also new. So I'm looking at the wheel weights, and on the right rear dually tire, I see weights on the outside, but I don't see weights on the inside of the outer dually tire. I'm like, look at all the other ones, they all have weights on. I'm like, okay, well, sometimes they balance. Well, let me ask the customer, did this happen before you got tires? Or did this happen after you got tires? Maybe do we have a road force issue? Because I'm looking at these lugs. I mean, these are thick ass lugs for these back tires. No, it was there before. So they put tires on it thinking that's what it was, and it was not it. And so it's been out of commission. So I know it's not tires. It was there before. They said it was driving, and they just started feeling this.
That counterweight back at the rear yoke is fine too. Because remember, they have that SSM or the TSB out on that for vibration and noise on that counterweight. And there's
no, I don't remember.
Yeah, there's a SSM and a TSB out for that counterweight being out of whack. And it was like, what was it first when we were talking? Like, I know it was vague when it popped up. It said
on the pinion.
Yeah. It was on specific ones. And then all of a sudden they came out and they updated it again and they added other ones to it. And I'm like, man, this is going to be a whole fiasco, because on Anthony's, the way it was running is when they pressed that counterweight onto that pinion, it was pressed on, but it was cocked sideways. It wasn't pressed on true. So I had to get a new setup, a new pinion with the counterweight and everything. And you could tell it was a little bit different. It was all chromed out and polished versus the black version that came from the factory. And it was nice and true. It was nice and straight, the new one that I put on. And I was like, I wonder if we're going to start seeing problems with these counterweights on these pinions.
Just wrote myself a note. That's going to be what I'm going to, first thing I'm going to be diving into tomorrow. It just doesn't make any sense.
Those are weird, man. People don't understand. Like, well, I'm sure us, the guys that are here, we understand, most of the people that are in the comment section and stuff like that, but people outside of us that don't do this every day, they don't own these vehicles, when you talk about stuff like this, they don't understand how difficult this stuff can be to find out and figure out, and the time we put into it that we're not getting paid for, that you got to do the best that you can. You don't want people leaving unhappy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't know. I'll definitely can let you guys know. It's a real pain in the butt sometimes.
We had an ambulance come in that was doing something like that. It was like a 19 or a 20, wasn't, and it didn't have a lot of miles on it. I think it only had like 30 or 40,000 miles on it. And when we got those new rotary lifts, the diesel tech had to put it up in the air, the main diesel tech. I help out down there, but I'm doing other diag stuff and electrical nightmares and stuff most of the time. And he had to pull the rear end apart and rebuild the whole entire rear end, because it was some kind of chattering going from something that was in the differential assembly that was starting to transition through the pinion, through the yoke into the drive shaft. And he was all over the place trying to figure this thing out. Finally, he started ripping everything down, and he saw something he didn't like back there in the chunk, and ended up putting a whole brand new assembly and stuff in it and took care of the problem.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's why I asked mechanics who always looked older than we are. Ha 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 ha. Drive shaft angle off? I mean, that's the next thing I'm gonna check. Yeah, I don't think so. Where was this guy? Just Dallas Aiken in the comments. Good question. What is your recommendations for an undercoating? For my 22 F600, I have wool wax in mind, but just looking for recommendations. You guys probably saw, if you have not, check out Ford Boss's video where he did that application to the the Crown Vic, right?
I've done it to a bunch of Panther platform vehicles where I use stuff like wool wax. Wool wax is excellent. It's an excellent product. So I wouldn't say they even change what you're doing. Wool wax is phenomenal. I use Surface Shield from Blaster because I started looking at a lot of the reviews and a lot of the hardcore guys that are into chemicals and, kind of prolonging the life of the vehicle and stuff like that. When they went to Blaster Surface Shield, they said that every year they noticed that there's more of it left over than some of the other brands, like that Blaster Surface Shield. They really kind of upped their game with that, and it seems to adhere and stay on the vehicle longer. But wool wax, I mean, they're kind of like grandfathered in, man. Those guys have been around for a while, and they're known for being a phenomenal product. So
undercoating. What's undercoating?
yeah, right.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing that to the Grand Marquis here in the next couple of weeks.
I know what's wrong. That ain't got no gas in it.
I know what kind of undercoating. You just use motor oil, man. Just spray that bad boy all down.
That's what the landscaping guys that come in, they do like they'll take their used motor oil and they'll thin it out just a little bit with a little bit of mineral oil or something like that. They'll thin it out just a hair, and they got like landscaping sprayers that are just junk that they use, and they spray the undercarriage before the winter comes along with that motor oil mixture, and it's all over the place. But you never see those. You see them with over 100,000 miles on them. The inside beat to hell. You look underneath and everything still looks new. It all looks new underneath.
Then at the end of the season, go to car wash and have the underwash done, and it's gone.
Yeah, they wash it off and then they do it again before the winter again. It's cheap and it works. It's just you just need some kind of oil down there, some kind of barrier between that salt and water and everything else.
I mean, a 7.3 does it naturally, so.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that does it naturally. A whole lot.
Yeah.
So let's we want to bring the spotlight on an up and coming individual here that's with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to bring out DS Trucks. Just want to make sure he's not sleeping. Rattle his cage here a little bit.
What up? What up?
I was almost gonna start laughing.
You are.
He disappeared in his green screen a minute ago. I thought he fell asleep.
Yeah, this fucking goofball. Yeah, I feel bad for him. I got an opportunity to work with him just a few short minutes ago, whiles ago, and all I heard constantly throughout our whole endeavor, oh man, I made the wrong choice, man. I'm kicking myself in the ass, man. I don't think I've ever seen somebody so attached to their truck. And these 450s hit you right where it counts. And he was truly, he DS Trucks is a Godzilla man now. He's a lizard man.
I'm identifying as Diesel. I turned on OCR yesterday. Oh my God!
He don't even got it. He just turned it on, so
yeah,
he identifies as a Godzilla.
He's an attack helicopter Godzilla.
He's no longer a Scorpion. He's a Godzilla.
Well, that just means he has to buy a 23.
I know. I have to get a 23 now.
You know he's going to do it. He can't go without it.
Okay. So if you're going to get a 23, everybody, what do you think DS is going to get on his 23? What would be? Yeah, seller's remorse. He's got seller's remorse. Yeah, go Godzilla.
100%.
What would you get on your 23? Are you guys going full loaded to the gillies? Are you going to get those uplifter switches that I've been hearing about? The one thing that I wish my truck had No, not the sunroof. Well, two things, I guess. I really dig those deployable running boards now. Okay.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it, but I really think they're pretty cool. And rapid heat. I would have liked to have had the supplemental heat.
Yeah.
430 gears. Cheers. I ain't really need 430 gears.
That's the one thing about the 450 is not that great until you're towing. The 430 gear, if you're not towing the diesel, that first gear is just too low.
You know, he has to get 430 gears.
You have to in a 450, but
you can't get anything but a 430 gears.
I saw 450 yesterday and told the wife, "There you go." She wasn't.
What was that? Was that a 600 or something that you had, Aaron? One of those pulled up next to me today at the light, and I was test driving a vehicle. Customer drove down from Wisconsin to have the winter maintenance done, so he came to see me, and I test driving it after everything. And that fucking thing pulled up next to me, man, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" This thing is freaking huge, man.
Yeah, it looks like you took a 550 and went.
That's what they did. They took a 650 chassis and axles and threw a 550 on it.
Yeah. It definitely, the one that I drove, it will rattle you around if you don't have like
it loaded
50,000 pounds behind you.
Yeah.
It rattles you pretty good.
It was upgraded. They had like a big giant, it wasn't even like a utility box. It was like a utility box on steroids. And there was like a crane on the back of it and everything. It was like, what the fuck is this?
I have a unique question, and I have never had one come in. But if you go to the wiring diagram, there is a section in there for 11 through 16s. I didn't see this for Illuma duties that had a crew chief section, and there were some upfits that you could get from the factory on cab chassis trucks. One of them being on the front bumper, you could actually have quick disconnect couplings for your hydraulic hoses to go to your plow, or vice versa on the back of the vehicle for your box spreader, tailgate spreader thingamaroo. I see a lot of companies, I see a lot of trucks that come in that have other companies' products on there, but I never see them go through the front bumper. And I remember seeing a brochure with a bunch of fleet vehicles, and they had that right there through the bumper. I thought it was pretty slick. I've never seen them come in before. When I think F600, it kind of makes me think of that. Think of that. Wish I had the money.
Yeah.
I drove a 450 bucket truck and it rode horrible. I bet it did. Parker fittings, yeah, Parker fittings. Yeah. Got a great Parker store, and that's actually where I found the fittings for that HSM upper fuel filter retrofit, which, by the way, you guys are really digging that. It is quite often that I get reached out to where, hey, can you give me what exactly? A lot of good info. I'm still trying to learn all the different things on the 21. I had a 06 for many years that served me well. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad. I'm sure if you've had it for that long, you took care of it, so that's good. That 21 is going to ask the same of you. Going to be a little different. The 06, you can stick to the Power Stroke Help side, but that 21, I think you found your spot. This is where you want to be locked in. The 21's We want to get you started off on the right foot. And I think the biggest thing is getting on top of your OCR, knowing what's in that DPF. If you know what is in the exhaust, you can better critique your driving habits and drive your truck in a manner that will allow regen to complete. But if you do not, then that's what you have FORscan for. That's what you have us for.
Hey, Rod. I know you're talking about you're talking about OCR, and you obviously you got to be up at temperature, you got to be sitting still, and you said you could only do it at 100. Is that a difference between fleet vehicles and just normal vehicles? Because I've been able to do them at 55, 85.
If Illuma duties?
One of them was at 18.
Yeah. So for whatever reason, that's funny you brought that up. I do notice that the Illuma duties will allow you to do it. Like if it's an ambulance that comes in or a wrecker, if that thing's at 55 and I'm hot and at idle, it'll prompt me, do I want to clean? Hold okay to clean.
Yeah. I did a 14 too.
Ambulances will start.
Yeah.
Ambulances
I
will
did a
start at like
video
30%.
I did a video on the 14.
Just what percent was it at?
35, just to see if it'll do it.
Through the instrument cluster?
Uh-huh.
No kidding. Wow.
Ambulances, if it was ordered with an ambulance package, they'll start at 30.
Wow.
Because they have to. I mean, they have to keep driving. That's the whole
They idle
thing.
a lot. They run all day. So I didn't know if that was a difference between just a fleet vehicle and then just a normal one that you buy off a lot. That's
the ambulances are they're different.
I'm different.
It does still have to be at operating temperature, and you do have to sit.
So what's the deal, DS? What would you pick?
As far as what?
You're getting one right now. You don't care what Donna says. You told Donna to go in the other room. She don't need to hear this right now. You're about to put this order in.
For 23.
What are you getting, man? Right now, what are you getting?
I would go 450 again. I would go silver again. I would get a Lariat, but I would keep the features kind of lower. Like I want a Lariat,
but I don't get no leather, no carpet.
No Lariat, standard leather, but I would do a no carpet. I'd do a rubber floor, and I'd do twin panel again. I keep the features though. I don't need adaptive cruise and all that stuff. I would steer away from that if possible. I don't know how much of that they're gonna make standard now. That stuff becomes more standard as the models roll on, but we'll see. I got to look at the price. The last one I ordered was 81,000, so who knows? It's probably going to be a little bit more money this time around, like 85, 86, hopefully, but we don't know.
That HO
and high output, yeah. It might be 90 grand. It might be even more than that. Who knows?
Keep going.
Not going to be able to get that excavator back now.
Oh, you don't got to keep bringing that
No,
up,
I'm not.
I'm
just going to chill on those for now.
Well, check this out. My wife was trying to convince me to trade in for a 23. I think I'm happy with the one I have, though. Dang, she already given you approval and the motherfuckers ain't even come out yet?
Well, it's funny. My old lady did not want me to sell my 450.
I like my XLT. Working man's truck. Title says FORscan have extensively compared it against IDS, and it's about 50% as capable. I know, no cylinder contribution. I know it's a bummer.
Well, you can still do cylinder acceleration. I mean, it's the same thing.
You can still do cylinder stuff with it. You just have to play around with it and kind of get used to it. Cody turned me on to that. You can do that.
Yep.
Cylinder acceleration is exactly what is used for cylinder contribution anyway. So it's like,
and the real 007. Additionally to that, in your arsenal, if you remember, Ford Boss and we had Think Diags, little dongles. I didn't have mine. I think it's still in the truck.
I got one in my truck.
I got one right here.
It
somewhere
actually does power balance right from your phone. You ever done a manual regen from your device, from yourself, right here on your phone? Check the video we have on the channel. I was actually doing a manual regen in a short bus, 3.2 Puma, and was cleaning out the filter live, doing power balance, relative compression. You can program PATs. Definitely need that in your arsenal.
I like it because it's when you guys know how much of a pain it can be to get into FDRS, load everything up, log in, let it verify you, get in, find everything that you need. On my phone, like on these new the 21 Expeditions and Navigators, where we were doing that 22S36, the harness. When you're done and you have the new harness and everything wired in for the fan to stop this underhood fire thing, people were at the end. They want you to go into the data logger. They want you to turn on your high speed fan and then deactivate it, get it out of the PID category, and then put your low speed fan in and make sure that both of them are working. Now, by the time the tech next to me gets FDRS out, logs in, gets everything pulled up, tests everything, I've already got that dongle hooked up. I'm already in the data logger under the like the actuation portion, and I can go ahead and pull up before he's even logged in with his like name and everything, and it's verified the VIN, and I'm already in there testing the high speed fan, the low speed fan, already doing my work and getting the vehicle out before he's even started. And that's one of the reasons why I like those dongles. Today I was verifying trans temperature while I was trying to adjust the level in a 6F35, and I wanted it to be 190 degrees or higher. So I got it up to about like 200 degrees. And the trans guy was watching me and he was like, "What did you use just now?" And I was like, "I took that little dongle and I hooked it in, and I hurried up and quick identified the vehicle, and I went right into trans fluid temperature, and I was able to verify within just a matter of seconds of going in, identifying, figuring out where I was, watching the trans until it got down to a drip, and then put the plug in, and I knew I was exactly at the right level." And he was like, "What the hell, man? I'm over here with FDRS and IDS doing all this stuff." And I was like, "No, man, it's that Think Diag, man. It's quick. I'm in, I'm out. Saves me a lot of time."
I will definitely agree. Even with FDRS and doing all the login and stuff like he's saying, and connecting to the cloud, and just all I want is my goddamn code.
Network test takes forever on FDRS.
Yeah. And I've been using their Light Pro Series pad, like the tablet pad that they sent me. It's like
really?
Like a $900,000 pad, and I leave it set up on my box and turned on. And literally every single vehicle that comes in, I just plug that dongle in, same one that you hook up to your cell phone, and I hit identify vehicle, and just within a matter of moments, it's already in there. I'm already looking at PIDs and stuff like that, and I just leave it set up on top of my box, and I can go in and do all the same stuff. Now, FDRS is obviously much more sophisticated and has many more options than that, but the basics of what I need to do, I don't even need to pull FDRS out anymore.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Only programming.
I hate to say this, but it's also a way for me to keep people out of my business when I'm working, because that data logger and everything's tracked anyway. If I'm in that Think Diag or whatever, and I'm doing everything that I need to do, that's not being tracked by anybody. And as long as it's getting done the right way, and it's just for diagnostic purposes, I have everything I need anyway. Nobody needs to know what I'm doing.
True that.
Big Brother can see everything through vehicle history.
Oh my God, yes.
Hey, but it can help. It can help in the long run.
I was a little bit against it at first when we started, talking about that, the TCU stuff, the live updates, the tracking and everything. But you know what? A lot of that, what you just said, is spot on. That's helped me in so many situations just to verify previous things were going on. The FSE came out yesterday, And I was like, hey, that Better Business Bureau buyback, I noticed there was something that we didn't check when you were out here. And he was like, oh, what was that? Like, I made a mistake. I forgot to check something. And I'm like, yeah, when you left, I was like, wait a second. I can go to the VHA and I can actually look at the vehicle history and see what's all been being tracked and what's been going on with this vehicle. And I noticed since August 8th, there was low voltage code set in this computer since then. And it was like almost every single day something was going on. So I pulled the battery out of the vehicle and I load tested it, and I went in and reset the BMS 5 times, the brights, 3 times the brake pedal, reset the BMS. And he was like, oh, you know about that? And I was like, yeah, I know about that. And then he said, do you verify that it works? I said, well, you can go into the data logger and see how many days since it's been reset. And I noted the first time I tried it, that's what I did. I went into the data logger to make sure that the counter for how many days that BMS has been on has reset to 0. So I know 100% it works. And he was like, oh, okay, well, I'm surprised I didn't catch that when I was out here. I didn't look at the VHA. And I was like, it can be good and it can be bad, but I'm starting to see more good than bad now.
You can also go into the Diag tab and go to vehicle history and see all the way down with the FDRS sessions and everything.
Yep.
That is best thing in the world for me.
That's how Hotline taught me today when I smoked that TCU. And they were like, yeah, we could see when you were trying to program here, the voltage got down to like 11.9 volts. Like, that's no good. Like, we're going to go ahead and take care of you on this one. Replace the TCU because we understand. Yeah,
it's brick. It's okay. We know.
They caught me immediately, and I didn't deny it. I said, well, yeah, it kind of got down like 11.9 volts, but that was never really a problem with previous to 20. And they were like, yeah, 20 and above, you cannot do that.
Yeah, it's a real pain in the. Just hook the damn battery charger up, because it's such a pain when you got to recover the module and go back through, and it's.
What I noticed though, and this might be up Cody's alley, is when I was doing a lot of the programming on the Mach-E's to keep some of the stuff updated, after it's run for a while and you've been putting information through those computers and stuff, the coolant pump in that front lock, the up front, it runs constantly to keep things cool.
Yeah, it's actually gonna do it both ways. It's gonna cool and heat depending on what it needs. It wants to keep that battery at 70-ish degrees.
Well, I noticed that with that pump running the whole entire time. I'm looking at the battery voltage, and it was like 12.2, 12.7, 12.2, 12.7, 12. I was like, no, don't smoke the module on this thing, please.
That's why when you get the high voltage junction box cars, the 12-volt battery is usually flat dead, like 0 volts in them.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they're on back order.
I wonder if anybody's going to try putting a plow on one of those things.
Oh God.
There's going to be some dumb. Yeah, they are. I saw one on the freeway and it looked.
Yeah, it looks like one of those cartoon cars from back in the day.
Like, are you trying to put something in the back and you got it jacked up? Or is this like,
yeah,
what do they call the trucks that sag in the back and they're jacked up in the front? What do they call them?
Carolina Squad.
The Carolina Squad.
Jesus gosh, I remembered how much I can't stand that name. I'm glad I didn't remember it.
I cannot
stand this truck. I saw one of those in real life when I was in Tennessee a few weeks ago. Like, I saw this kid riding around in a Tahoe, and it's like got a 40-degree lift to it. And he's just riding around town. I go, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy thought he had something too. I mean, he's like leaning in his chair, like stereo blasted, all the windows down, and he's just riding this piece of junk through town, like
Gundam style.
Best day ever for the kid. I felt
stand on my back porch for 5 minutes. You'll see 12 of them.
America.
No.
America. I wonder how much battery power the new F-150 loses with a plow. That would be interesting. And I bet somebody's going to do it.
I mean, if you could even mount one on it.
How much battery power the 150 loses?
Lightning.
Yeah, if you had a Lightning with a plow on it.
Oh, a Lightning? Oh.
That's
I mean, we've already found out how bad it does in towing.
I mean, you know what? It's cool as hell though. Like when me and Krautzer went out there to it, I was like, hey, watch this, check this shit out. And I was like, double click the button and the tailgate went.
Oh, it goes up itself?
And then I double clicked it again and went. And I was
the
like,
new Super Duty is gonna do that too for boss.
I was like, watch this. So go to the front, the front, go to the front. It was like popped up, and I don't remember if it came up like on its own, or I don't know if I had to. I think Krautzer would have to tell you. I'm not sure if it came up on its own and down on its own or something like that, but it was just looking at this thing, sitting in it, and the more you drove it, it kind of grew on you and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? This is actually a really enjoyable ride. It's surprising how nice this truck actually moves and drives. And we went on an 8-mile run of getting in it spirited over and over and over again periodically. And it said it went from 100% battery power to 97% just on 8 miles of multiple wide open throttle, and not driving it nice and not beating on it, but it only lost 3% in 8 miles of doing that. Radio on, AC on, everything. Only 3% lost.
I mean, I could see it being used for like a lawn mowing service where they got a small flatbed trailer.
Yeah.
And a small amount of travel.
I can see it doing that.
I don't like the idea of having to plug in your car all the time. I don't like that.
Was it TFL? Go ahead. Sorry, yes.
I'm gonna get in that car and drive it while still plugged in, rip that cord out. It'll probably tell you though inside of it.
Only you.
Like, hey, don't drive it. It's still plugged in.
They probably wouldn't let you put it in drive.
TFL did that test where they hooked up. It was like a regular truck versus the Lightning, and they had a decent load on the back. It was a trailer with a pretty heavy load on it. And it wasn't that it couldn't handle it, handled it fine. But the way it projected the range after they got moving, it cut everything in half, and then it lost even more. And they were like, wow, this is not even what we expected at all. The range is way off with this thing on how it had to keep calculating.
Wow.
And it's just way, way, way off. And it drops power like crazy when you're towing a decent load.
So the range is not there while towing.
No.
Then the power.
You have to have a really small trailer.
My thing is, it's like, it's cool, but the idea that it can power your home, you need your home to power it. So
what was that dude in Michigan or whatever through the storms? Not these storms, not the recent like across like the kind of Midwest where we're getting all the wind gusts and the storms and everything else. But there was some kind of deal where I don't know if it was in Michigan or Wisconsin or it might have been Florida or something like that. But there was some storms coming through. They lost all their power, and he brought his power boost to the back of back by the yard and hooked up his house and was running his refrigerator and his air conditioner and this living room.
That was in Texas.
Yeah. That system I like. I like that
was
system.
Nuts. And he was like, I'm barely like taxing this thing at all. I'm like still got a ton of gas. This thing's still gonna run.
It turns off.
And he was like, the system is so efficient and smart that I could run this thing forever and it's still powering everything.
Absolutely. It turns the engine off and everything, and only charges the battery when needed. It's a very good generator.
I mean,
boost.
My buddy Mike used his F-150 diesel to power his refrigerator and stuff when they lost their power up there in Michigan not too long ago.
So did he use this 400-watt inverter? Which inverter did he?
He has like the 2.4 in the bed.
Oh, he's got the newer model with the Pro Power. So the Super Duties are going to have that Pro Power, which is going to be real nice.
He used it. He said it worked great, other than his yard smelled like DEF. Burning DEF.
The cool thing about the Power Boost is that when you plug it in, it's not going to run the engine the whole time. It just kind of charges up the battery and turns back off.
Yeah, didn't that guy say that truck barely even turned on the whole entire time he was using it? It was barely running.
Yeah, I like the Power Boost idea a little bit better than the Lightning idea.
Oh, for sure.
I think the Power Boost is where it's at.
What
like that. But.
Now the kicker would be with the Lightning. If they had that generator, I think Cody said there might be that might come in the future.
Yeah, having a patent for an in bed single cylinder gas generator.
If you had that, and that could take the range and make the range longer, then it'd be a good product, I think.
There's a guy who did it with his Tesla on YouTube.
Oh, he charged it while driving?
He put a single cylinder generator in the back of his Tesla and drove all over.
That, and I think
Michigan.
I think I don't like how the Lightning looks, the front end. I feel like the front end looks a little bit cheesy.
Appreciate you, sentimental.
They should have just made it look just like a normal. That's awesome.
When we get our Super Duties, everybody, what does the miles per gallon say on that window sticker? It's okay, I'll wait.
It doesn't say.
It doesn't say. It says these vehicles are not rated for fuel economy. So that in turn really means you get what you get. So I drive a 2173 and I'm always driving 6.7s. Always. I cannot believe for the same comparable kind of truck, fuel mileage sucks. I mean, sucks. You get so much more bang for your buck for using diesel. And I could not believe that for 10 speed for going 70 miles an hour. I mean, I'm being real gentle with it. I could only squeeze out 13.8, 14 was the highest I could get it. And I think that's just kind of crazy. Now the same thing for 6.7, I would be all day comfortably high 17s, low 18s. On the freeway, I wouldn't expect to see anything under 20. Kind of a disappointment. And
but at the end of the day, though, the diesel's what, a $10,000 option, at least an outgoing model. We don't know how much more it is now. How much fuel savings would offset the cost?
Gonna be a lot.
So what was it in 23 or 24? Because I was talking to the FSC a little bit, and he was like, "Isn't that why they're promoting more of the 6.8 now, or something? It's like a detuned version of the 7.3 or something, or."
It's they changed the bore and stroke a little bit in order to get a different displacement, but they run a little higher compression.
Because he was saying, because I was telling him, I was like, I noticed that a couple of the 7.3s that we had lifter failure on already. We've done a couple engines that everything was set up exactly like the LS style, like the LS6 style and stuff like that. And he was like, it's because it is. They make manifolds and lifters and push rods and buckets and everything to fit multiple variations. Everybody calls it the LS style because that's what it's known for, but it's not an LS designated lifter or rocker or push rod. It wasn't ever meant to be tailored to, this is a strictly GM product. It's a mass produced product that can be used in many applications. And it just so happens that Ford did see the success in this type of design with this push rod setup. And it just so happens that we're having issues just like the LS guys did with lifters turning and, collapsing and cams getting chewed up and stuff because it's the same type of design. And
I mean, it's nothing really new. We've had push rod motors in the 90s that did the same crap. So it's like
he brought up, even him, it was
the
like
same thing.
The light bulb went off for a second. He was like, I think some of that might be why the detuned and de-stroked or whatever, blah, 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 or I don't know what the hell he was saying. Something about that's the reason, kind of one of the reasons why the 6.8 is going to be taking its place for the most part. And I was like, I wonder what this idea is, or maybe they're starting to see.
What do you mean though, taking its place?
Like it's going to be the new or the newer go-to option instead of a 7.3. More guys might choose the 6.8.
I thought they were getting rid of the 6.2 in place of the 6. Putting the 6.8 in the place of the 6.2.
I don't know, man.
They're keeping the 7. They're keeping the 7.3 though.
Yeah, but the 6.8, I think, talking to him, they're under the impression that it may be more popular than the 7.3.
Well, that's a good point because it's interesting. I mean, they're running a little bit less displacement, but a little more compression. So I think a lot of people right now are thinking maybe the 6.8 is going to make more power. It's certainly going to make more power than the 6.2. It's 6.8 liters is more displacement. It's more compression.
V8,
it's going to be a
not
push.
V10. That's going to be
right.
It's going to be like the baby V8.
It's going to have the same displacement as the V10 that used to be out. It's going to have a big displacement, but
just like it had the 4.6 and the 5.4.
They are saying that the 7.3 is going to be more powerful than the 6.8, but they just don't have the numbers. But I think it's just a smart move, being that the engines are built the exact same. I mean, they're push rod, they're like very similar block. It's just from a production standpoint, they're finally capitalizing on having one type of engine, or at least a V8 gas engine that's just going to be easier to build, cheaper.
I think it's going to be more of a hit than the 7.3 because of just like some of the issues that we're having already. I think a lot of guys, maybe a lot of more of the fleet guys that are not full bore, like, hot shot guys or something like that. Maybe they
don't care about having the biggest, baddest power. They just want a good base level engine. We're still going to have a good amount of power. It's going to be more powerful than the 6.2. It's probably, I wouldn't be surprised if it had what the 7.3 has now, as far as power. Very close to at least.
I want to leave everybody with a question. The video that we have for Friday, behind the scenes, it has to do with the CCV. This particular unit is on a big 650, 750. And the issue that I'm having is the vehicle is using 4 quarts of oil every week. This is a 2022 with 900 miles. Does this happen to you? And are you leaving this component on your truck? You're going to have to wait and see on Friday because I'm going to show you all about it, talk about it, and I'll leave it up to you with what you want to do. You guys know what to do. Stay locked. We'll see you Friday. I want to thank Ford Boss, Ford Bearder Tech, CP, Sleepy DS, and Rainman at the top. We'll see you all next time. Thanks, guys. Everybody, we'll talk to you next time.